Hello and welcome to today's live coaching call and community conversation. Today we are going to be talking about some very common exercise myths that are kind of geared toward us as women in general, but specifically to us in menopause, or maybe they're just myths that we're holding on to from our past that we're using conveniently as women going through menopause. So we're going to talk about all of that today. But before we get started, I always like to take a second to introduce myself. My name is Diane Parham. I am a fasting mindset coach. I help you create a lifestyle for yourself that will allow you to look and feel your best and do that in your most authentic way. As you're transitioning through this season of menopause, we do talk a lot about intermittent fasting here, but the big approach to the lifestyle that we should be creating for ourselves is really figuring out how long we need to fast, how well we need to feast, and what we need to do to train smart, which we're going to talk about today, so that we can continue to show up for our future self. So like I said, today we're going to talk about exercise myths in general, but because we are women in this community who are transitioning through menopause, we're going to talk specifically about that today. Today's talk is going to be very mindset driven. So we're going to talk about our belief systems. We're going to talk about experiences from the past. And we're going to talk about what it is that we say that we really want. And I hope today when you leave the conversation, you will feel empowered about making informed choices for yourself. Do me a favor in the comment section, make sure you're saying hello. I also ask that you hit that like button both on Facebook and YouTube. That just helps this video reach more women in our community. So I always love when you guys hit that like button. And then if you haven't done so yet, please make sure you have subscribed and or followed us over on Facebook. Okay, so let me see that comment section light up. I see how many of you are here. I want to see you in the comment section so that we can make this a true community conversation. Okay, so before we get into like the details of fitness specifically and the myths and us as women in menopause, let's really define what a myth is. Remember today, I said today's conversation is going to be more about our mindset about exercise so that we can create a plan that will allow us to create our best life. So a myth is basically a widely held but false belief or idea. It's what we choose to believe without really needing proof, right? And it's information that allows our brain to have permission to believe something that brings us comfort. And I think this is specifically true to exercise, right? So if you're not someone who enjoys or has enjoyed exercising, then it's really easy to fall into a lot of these myths about women or menopausal bodies and what we should and shouldn't do, because it's going to allow your brain to have permission to not do something that's uncomfortable for you. So we have to make sure that we are really clear about what it is we're choosing to believe and really making sure we go through the process to determine if that is in fact information that is true to us, right? And we do have to make sure that we're really clear on those thoughts that we're allowing our brain to have about some of these things. Okay. So your why and what you believe to be true are really what are going to determine how it is you show up for yourself in a physical space. The training smart aspect of the trifecta to aging successfully: fasting long, feasting well, training smart. So what is your why? Like if you're a person who finds yourself in this like constant turmoil about should I exercise, should I not exercise, or you have this guilt that's kind of hanging over you about exercising, what is it that is your why? Like how do you see the future you showing up physically in your life? So I talk here a lot about how like I'm a fall down kind of person. Like I'm falling down and falling up things my entire life. So it's really important for me, knowing that about myself, that I have the physical ability to push my body off the ground. So for me, doing those kind of exercises will allow my future self the opportunity to hopefully push myself up and into my life, right? In case I fall down. I fell down a couple years ago outside running, and I quickly was able to push my body up because I practiced push-ups, I practiced planks, and I practiced pushing and pulling type of exercises so that I can physically participate in my life now and moving forward. So you have to really create your why for exercise. And it does need to be that thing that's going to be deeply seated emotionally for you. Like, I pull things in my exercise routines also because I want to be able to lift grandkids that I'm hopefully going to have in my future, or young little kids in my future. I want to be that person, that woman that can pick something up off the ground. So if you create your exercise program around what it is you say you want, and you engage in those types of activities, then the emotional connection that you have to that exercise will keep you in the game so that you'll see the results. So it's really important to make sure that we have the why. Right? And what do you believe to be true based on past experiences? And what kind of conversations are you having in your own head about exercise? So if you're in my mindset courses, or even if you're in my intermittent fasting for today's aging woman course, I talk a lot about how words really matter. The conversations that we have in our head are going to drive us to our decision-making process and what it is we believe to be true for ourselves. So I create I am statements, right? And they're statements that allow me to believe what I want to have happen in my life before it's happened. So that's like a myth debunker right there, right? So I'm going to create a belief system about something as I'm on the journey to creating it. So I did this for myself a couple years ago when I created an I am statement that was, I am a conditioned athlete, right? And so I started making decisions. So I showed up as what it is I believed myself to be, a conditioned athlete. How does a conditioned athlete sleep? How does a conditioned athlete fuel their body? How does a conditioned athlete warm up? How does a conditioned athlete stretch? And all of those decisions, or those answers to those questions, have really helped shape what it is I do in my exercise life, despite the advice I'm getting from the outside world, right? Because that's irrelevant based on what I say that I want for myself. So make sure when you're thinking about you showing up physically in your life and what you want for yourself, that you're carving out those I am statements and those belief statements so that you can believe something while you're en route to the proof of it. That really is going to help a lot of those mindsets that we have maybe from our past. And then I'm doing this for or so, right? So I'm doing certain things so that I can show up for my future self, so that I can pick up grandkids or little kids that I have in my life, so I can bring in my groceries for myself, so that I can push myself up off the ground, so that I can go maybe snow skiing with my kids as adults, or so I can go on vacation and not have to sit on the sidelines. So those are important statements you have to make for yourself too, again, so you can debunk the myths from the outside world and create an exercise lifestyle for yourself as you see your life progressing. Okay, so let's talk about some myths that I commonly hear, and I'm sure you have commonly heard them as well, right? Myth number one, cardio is best for weight loss. So that's a myth that is in the world of fitness, that cardio is the best thing for weight loss. Well, what if you just like cardio because you like cardio? Like, what if you like running? What if you are a cycler? What if you like to do things that are cardiovascular in nature, irrelevant of weight loss? And if the only thing we hear is that cardio is best for weight loss, and that's not a true thing because that's what the myth is, then we're going to think that engaging in that type of activity isn't going to be good for us if that's not our goal. So here's what I like to say about these kind of myths and the kind of conversations we need to have in our own head about them, right? If you are not a fan of cardio, then this is permission for you to take a pass, right? Because someone else is making a statement that doesn't technically apply to you, but your brain's going to go, yeah, I know that because of this statement, I'm going to like believe what it is that I want to believe. Or if you are a fan of cardio and maybe weight loss isn't your goal, you're going to think that maybe you shouldn't be doing this, right? And it's going to discourage you from maybe something that actually brings you joy. So one of the things I really like to talk to women about in a coaching environment, right, when we're doing our one-on-one coaching, is what brings you joy. Let's close out all the outside influences. Let's close out all these myths, right, about what is exercise is or isn't to us as individuals, and what brings you joy, right? I have been told my entire life that running is like the worst thing that I could do for my body. It's actually going to make me skinny fat, is what I was always told, right, and break my muscle down. But running brings me absolute pure joy. Like, I absolutely love having my run in my schedule. And I, most importantly, love having my run done, right? Like I don't always love getting into it, but I love when it's done. I love that feeling that I have. I love the way my body feels. So I can't listen to a lot of that outside advice because it's not applicable to me and it will rob me of my joy. So what I want you to think about when you're thinking about training smart as a woman transitioning through menopause, what brings you joy and what gives you that afterglow, like that joy that you actually got something done and participated in it. And that's going to be the exercise that's going to bring you or yield you the best results, leading to that why statement that you have. Okay, so let's talk about myth number 2. This is something I hear all the time. The best times to exercise is in the morning. Well, that might be true for someone who's a morning person or has time in the morning. But what if you don't have time in the morning and you're like, oh my gosh, if the best time to work out is in the morning and I don't have time in the morning, then I guess I probably shouldn't work out at all. Again, this is a myth that is not proven to be true for the mass majority of people. An exercise that's done is the best exercise, and the best time you can get it done is the best time for you to exercise, right? There's all kinds of information and studies that have been done, but they're not applicable to you if they're not applicable to you or you were not in that study. So remember, find a time in your schedule that allows you the best time to exercise. If it's at lunchtime, during your workday, that's the best time for you to exercise. If it's after work because you don't have to worry about kids or you don't have to worry about dinner and you can get a workout in after work, then that's a great time to exercise. If exercising in the morning is the time that you find to be the best time for you to exercise, then that's the best time for you to exercise. I always call my exercise appointments non-negotiable appointments for myself. That means once it's in the calendar, there's not going to be anybody that can interrupt that time. It's like a doctor's appointment. I can't call and cancel my doctor's appointment an hour before I show up. They're not happy with me. They usually charge me a fee, and it's just not polite to do, right? So why do we do that to ourselves? So what I recommend is any kind of calendaring system that you have. This is the one that I use. Mark your workout time frames as non-negotiable appointments for you during the time that it fits in for your individual schedule in that given week. Don't worry about what other people saying are the best times to work out. The best time to work out is when you can fit it in your schedule and you can make it a non-negotiable appointment for yourself. Don't cancel on you the same way you wouldn't cancel on anybody else. Okay, let's talk about another myth I hear all the time. Lifting weights will make you bulky. So many people, women especially, don't want to lift weights because they're afraid their frame is going to look bulky. Oftentimes, when I hear someone say that to me, I'm imagining them seeing themselves as like a professional bodybuilder, right? Professional bodybuilders put a lot of time and energy and expertise into getting their physique to look a specific way. The average person just doesn't have that level of expertise or that level of nutritional support or even fitness support to have that end product look, right? What makes a body look bulky is the space between the surface of your skin and where your muscle actually resides. That space in there is where bulk is created, and that's oftentimes inflammation and just body fat, right? So if you don't want to look bulky, the best thing to focus on is reducing inflammation and utilizing your body fat as a source of energy. We talk about that here a lot here too, called draining the tanks, right? We want to use what we have in storage as our source of energy. When you get rid of that gap between your surface skin and where your muscle is actually residing, that space in there, if you reduce the inflammation and you start utilizing your body fat, when you get that outward and that inward appearance meeting in the middle, I promise you, you'll have the most gorgeous muscles pop out because you're already going to be working toward achieving them, right? The other thing about bulky muscle that I want a lot of us to think about, especially going through menopause, because keeping a muscular frame is really, really important for us as we're going through this aging process, is that you can, in fact, create a muscular frame even in menopause, right? So the way you lift weights, the consistency of lifting weights, the weight in which you're going to have to actually lift, and how you're going through those exercises are going to determine the end look of the muscular frame that you have. So again, if you're fearing that you have reached a stage in your life where you don't have the opportunity to put muscle on your body, that is in fact a myth. Everyone has that opportunity. It's going to be determined by, fasting is that thing that creates that increase production of our own human growth hormone, which is what we need to create muscle. How you nourish your body is going to support what it is you're going to do in your muscle development. And then how you lift weights and how consistently you're lifting those weights is also going to be that determining factor. So again, you don't have to have a bulky appearance. That's usually the combination of just layers of things that are hiding that muscle. Once you strip that down, you will have a lean, strong looking body. And that's all what we're looking for here. And then the ability to show up in your life. What I want you guys to think about when you hear myths, right, is I want you to think about, where is my thought process going when I'm hearing someone say something like, I shouldn't do this because I'm in this subcategory of people, or if you're in this subcategory of people, you shouldn't do this. And how does that apply to you? Does that make you feel like, oh, thank goodness I didn't like doing that anyway? Or does it make you think, I wonder why they're saying that, and do I find that to be true for me? We need to find the happy and the healthy in everything, and the "and" part is very, very important to include in everything that we're doing. Your exercise should bring you joy, it should bring you fitness, it should bring you health, it should bring you longevity. And for women who are going through this menopausal season, getting up and moving your body consistently in the way that you say that you want to show up for yourself is very important, because there is in fact some truth that if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And we want to make sure that we keep using it for sure. So if you have any questions, now's the time to put those in the comment section. I'm a firm believer that you have to find joy in what you're doing, right? One of the little mindset games that I played with myself, probably in the last 3 or 4 years, was increasing what I did in my strength training, again, so I can keep that lean muscle look on my body, so that I could keep a frame that was strong, so that I could physically show up for myself. But I've never really enjoyed the process of strength training. So what I did is I played a little game on my mind, right? And I started taking classes that were strength training for runners, because I'm a runner first and foremost, right? And I want to stay in my running game for many, many years to come. So I started strength training to be a better runner. I started doing some stretching and some yoga to stay in the game and be a better runner. Then once I convinced my brain that strength training wasn't so bad and stretching was the thing that I needed, it made my body feel good, and yoga was the thing that was going to hopefully keep me injury free and keep me on the road longer, then I learned to love those activities for the other things that they were going to provide for me. So oftentimes we just have to play those little games with our brain and convince ourselves that what we're seeking to have as the end result might mean that we have to convince ourselves that there's other ways to get it as well. So hopefully that will help you guys too. Okay, Donna, good to have you with us, girlfriend. Wendy, good afternoon. So good to have you with us. Sandy, January 2022 grad from North Carolina. Girlfriend, I'm always happy to have you on a live with us. Pam is from Pennsylvania. She's a February 2022 grad. And I think, Pam, I'm talking to you this afternoon on a consult call. Janine, hello. I know my girl Janine is very, very diligent and consistent about her workout routine, because she wants to stay in the game a long time as well. Sandy, I sat on the sidelines of my life for nearly 30 years, no more. I exercise for functional strength and positive mental health. And yes, that's the other aspect of having a consistent workout routine. I know for me specifically, fitness has always been that thing that has helped me create a winner's mindset and that belief system in myself, right? If I can do XYZ, I can do anything, is really the mentality that I have always really run with my fitness routine. And I started working out in high school. as a very lost and troubled young woman. And I used running as my therapy and kind of a means of escape. And now it's like transitioned into, it's just my power tool, right? Anytime I want to feel powerful, anytime I want to feel confident, anytime I want to feel strong, anytime I want to just sort through my own thought process, a run is the thing that I do. And so you can use exercise for the physical benefits that it's going to bring you, but you can also use it for some of the mental and emotional as well, which is why I always lean into exercise. So Sandy, I'm so glad that you got off the sidelines and you are in the game. JD John, morning is typically the best time to stretch before workout routines. Yeah, I mean, again, it's that thing, right? If you can get up in the morning and you can stretch, then that's great. If you can get up in the morning and the best thing you could do is get out the door with all the things that you need to get out the door with, and that's what you got to do to get out in the morning, right? We don't want to create all these contingencies, right? And all these hard, fast rules around the things that we want to get out of our life. To the point where we're so boxed in and so striving to hit everything perfectly that we're missing our mark completely. We have to give ourselves the flexibility and the opportunity to live our life most authentically for whatever our life is at that given time. So make sure you're building in that window for success for yourself. Joyce, do you think you can build muscle and change body shape with just using body weight without lifting weights? I would say absolutely. And I'm going to say that from my experience with doing some only body weight type of exercises. So, I mean, push-ups and plank work are like full body exercises. Doing squat work, anything that you're doing that's going to keep your body moving and create that contraction in that muscle, I would say you're going to do some good, right? Are you going to completely like chisel down your physique and change some things in the shape of your body? That might take some weight training or even some band work, but then look at yogis and look at women who do Pilates. And I know they use some equipment, but they're mostly body weight type of exercises and their physiques look amazing. So again, it's going to be that combination between fasting long, feasting well, and training smart, and then deciding what it is you want the outcome to be, and then doing the activities that are going to create that outcome. So that's where I would say, that might be something that you want to look into. But I know a lot of people who do body weight only type of exercises. I did Insanity before, which is a pretty intense workout, but it was all body weight type stuff. And my shoulders and my upper body just looked amazing, but it was a lot of push-ups, a lot of planks, a lot of, pushing your body weight off the ground. And so if you're comfortable doing those kind of things, then yeah, you probably get a great physique for sure. Paige Davis, I'm 2018 graduate. I love the disciplined feeling from consistency in my workouts, helps my self-esteem. Yeah, when you consistently work out and you create those non-negotiable appointments for yourself, then you create trust, right? You create that mindset that I'm going to do good by me. And so that's another one of those things that where I say exercise is one of those tools that brings so many gifts to our life. If you don't quit on yourself and exercise, then the next time something in life gets hard for you, you're going to have that mindset that you don't quit on yourself. And so you carry all these disciplines forward into other areas of your life for sure. Sandy, Janine and I work out together. You do over Zoom because I'm in North Carolina and she's in Wisconsin. Working out with a friend helps me keep my appointment with myself. Yeah, 100% accountability partners are fantastic, right? Because if we haven't created that discipline yet, where we have those non-negotiable appointments for ourselves, we are less likely to cancel on someone else than we are on ourselves. Like we let ourselves off easy, right? But Sandy, I guarantee you're not going to disappoint Janine, and Janine's not going to disappoint Sandy. So having an accountability partner, especially when you're trying to establish new lifestyle routines or establish the discipline and consistency, leaning into an accountability partner is absolutely fantastic and will definitely help you stay in the game. Cheryl from Chicago, welcome, girlfriend. I've hated exercise, but as I've aged, I need to build strength and fall prevention. Thank you for your message. Yeah, for sure. So what I always say when we have those kind of things, like I hate something, is it's usually because it triggers something else and it might not even be associated, or it could be an experience from like a coach that was just awful, or maybe exercise was used as a discipline and not as a gift, or maybe you had a bad experience on a sports team. So usually we have something that we're associating from our past that was a negative experience for us, and we carry that into our future self. So dig around and see if you can figure out maybe if you can unpack that, and then figure out how exercise can be your gift for the future for sure. And then engage in exercise or activities that bring you joy. And then once you get that joy and you start to find the success and you feel the benefits of exercise, then kind of like reaching out into new things will be so much easier for you, Cheryl. But you deserve the exercise for sure, and you deserve to definitely have that fall prevention. I know I'm big on that too. So if you're looking for something for fall prevention, anything that you're going to do where it's unilateral work, so you're standing on one leg or doing one body part at a time, is definitely going to be helpful for you, because it will help build up the balance and the support you need just being on one kind of limb. So look for those kind of things, and then just keep telling yourself, I'm doing this so that I can move about my life freely and not have the fear of falling, because I'm doing the work to produce the strength. So keep us posted on that, Cheryl. We can't wait to hear what you find. And then Janine, working out with our Zoom group is the best, going strong nearly 3 years. I love you guys. That is the best thing for sure. Having accountability, finding a way to connect with other people, sharing your experiences, sharing your wins, asking someone to help you when it's a tough day and you're struggling, is definitely a great way to find success and the consistency that you want for your future self. So be careful about those myths that you are hearing out there, right? Don't let them derail you. Myths are someone else's belief system that you have not proven to be true for you yet. It might be true for you, but you have to prove it first, right? So make sure you're doing the mindset work on that for sure. And don't let someone rob you of your joy about an activity because they have a different belief system or a different experience. Rita, girlfriend, it's so good to see you. June 2019 from Israel Workout Every Day. I love it, girlfriend. And I'm so happy that you jumped on with us today. I miss your face. I'm so glad you are doing well. So, the bottom line message of today: don't let someone else's belief system derail you from the joy of moving your body and creating the future self that you see participating in your life. Figure out what brings you joy, and then create a routine that you can show up consistently for yourself so that you can reap the benefits. If you're interested in joining our intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman course, remember, we start one every month. Our next one starts on May 7th. It's my birthday month. May is my birthday month. So you'll be celebrating birthday month with me in May if you're in our May course. All the information can be found at fortoday'sagingwoman.com. Get on my email list, and I will start emailing everyone probably in about a week or so, giving you information about joining us for the next class. It is a great way to start, not only a fantastic way of creating discipline in your own mindset about how you're choosing things, but it is the first step in creating a life where you can fast long, feast well, train smart, and age successfully. Thanks so much for joining me here today, you guys. I will see you back here on Thursday at noon Central Standard Time. I'll see you tomorrow on Instagram at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to talk about something intermittent fasting related. Maybe we'll debunk some myths about intermittent fasting over there on Tuesday. And then I won't be around on Friday because my husband and I are going to take a little vacation to go celebrate our 22nd wedding anniversary. I'll keep you guys all posted on that on Instagram as well. But make sure you're on my email list. Thank you so much for joining our community conversation today. If you have any questions that come up after today's conversation that maybe kind of just ring up in your brain, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always open and happy to answer any questions you guys have. Have a great rest of your day.